Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are continuing on the Jurassic Park series of movie reviews. And today's movie I'm going to be reviewing is the 2001 movie Jurassic Park 3, which like I said, I own in this 5-movie collection, and it comes with the first 3 Jurassic Park movies and the first 2 Jurassic World movies. So, what is the basic plot and story to Jurassic Park 3? Well, the plot of this movie is as follows. Dr. Alan Grant crash lands on an island with a couple searching for their son and finds himself stalked by a smarter, faster, and deadlier dinosaur. So that's basically the plot synopsis to the movie. So it's rather simple. And now, how was this movie received when it came out? Well, when the first Jurassic Park movie came out in 1993, it was a big hit at the box office, received a bunch of critical acclaim from critics and audiences. The second movie, on the other hand, while still being a profit, did get mixed reviews. And Spielberg admitted he didn't want to do a sequel to Jurassic Park. But because of the success of the second movie, which I do rather like, a third one started production. And this third movie had a lot of production problems before getting made, and different scripts were being worked before eventually it was made into the movie that we all know. Now, as for my reaction to the movie, I like this movie for what it is. It's not perfect. It has its problems, but overall, it's a good but not great third edition of the franchise, and I'm going to explain why throughout the course of the review. Now, how I was first introduced to this movie, I saw this movie the same exact time that I saw the first movie. Like I said, when it comes to the first Jurassic Park movie, I first saw Jurassic Park when I was 8 years old, back in 2011, and I've loved that movie ever since then. Well, Jurassic Park 3 was the second Jurassic Park movie I watched because my grandma had it on DVD at her house, and so the first 2 movies in the franchise I saw were the first movie and the third one when I was 8 years old. I did not see the second movie, The Lost World, until I was 10 back in 2015, but I already covered my review and my thoughts on that movie. And since Steven Spielberg was proud of the first one but did not like his experience on the second one, they hired a different director for this one, and the director they hired for this one is Joe Johnston, who I do rather like as a director. If you're not familiar with Joe Johnston's work, he directed the 1995 Robin Williams movie Jumanji. He directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He directed this movie, and he directed Captain America: The First Avenger, believe it or not. He also directed a movie called October Sky, which I have not yet seen that movie, but I have heard good things about it. So one of these days down the road, I would like to give that a watch. But without further ado, let's get into my review of Jurassic Park 3. So the movie starts off where we are introduced to a guy named Eric Kirby, who Eric Kirby is this kid, a teenager that's he's basically on like a motorboat with his not his dad, but one of his friends, and they basically go parasailing in the air, and everything is going great until the boat goes into some fog, and and Eric Kirby and the guy, the dad's friend that's with him, they start to notice the rope shaking, and the fog covers it up, and then because the motorboat, it's going forward in the ocean, but then as soon as they're out of the fog, they see that no one's on the boat anymore. And someone asks, what happened to them? And Eric's like, I don't know. And then they're freaking out because, they think they're going to crash and stuff like that. But luckily, Eric is able to get off in time and stuff like that. And then right after that, we cut to our main character, Dr. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill from the first one, where he and Ellie are a couple now. And I thought, okay, that was an interesting idea because in the first Jurassic Park movie, yes, Dr. Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler were friends, but they weren't exactly married. Here, I like how in this movie they were actually a married couple and they had 2 kids of their own. I thought, okay, that was a nice little change of pace, nice little way to make the franchise continue. And then not long after that, Dr. Alan Grant is basically at like a, kind of like a, I guess it's really a, sort of like a museum, but not really, where people are asking him questions and he's asking interviewers questions and stuff like that. And then and then Dr. Alan Grant leaves the place. He's at an excavation site, and then he meets a character in the movie by the name of Paul Kirby, who is actually played by William H. Macy, who I do rather like as an actor. I mean, this was the first movie I saw William H. Macy in, but he's been in other movies I enjoy. He was in the 2006 comedy movie Wild Hogs, which had him, John Travolta, and Martin Lawrence, which I do rather like that movie. I do think that is a funny comedy movie. He was also in Air Force One, which is an action classic with Harrison Ford, and he was in most recently in that movie that came out last year, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But yeah, William H. Macy, I've always liked as an actor, and I've heard he's going to be in the new Running Man movie this year, so that's cool. But yeah, I've always liked William H. Macy as an actor. But yeah, so in this movie, William H. Macy plays a character by the name of Paul Kirby, and his wife, Amanda Kirby, and Amanda Kirby's played by Tay Leone, I think that's her name, but yeah. So those two and Dr. Alan Grant must go to this island to basically rescue their son Eric. And they go to the island, and then throughout the course of the movie, they see that it wasn't a good idea to go to the island because they deal with stuff, even worse than that. I mean, this movie gives us the Spinosaurus, which, for those who don't know what the Spinosaurus is, it was basically this carnivorous dinosaur that was really big. It was anywhere from like 50 to 60 feet long, so it was bigger than a T-Rex, and it had a giant sail on its back. And in this movie, the Spinosaurus chases our main characters, and it's bigger than a T-Rex. And I know that this is a scene of the movie that gets criticized, but so there's a scene where basically the helicopter pilot, one of the airplane pilots, that took the main characters to the island gets killed by the Spinosaurus, and they're trying to, fly the airplane away, and, the airplane hits the Spinosaurus' sail, and then it's going through the air and just crashing into trees, and then, eventually the Spinosaurus knocks over the plane, the characters run out, and then they come across a T-Rex, and then the T-Rex fights the Spinosaurus. And this is one critique of the movie I personally don't understand, where everybody that has seen this movie, everybody complains about the fact that, the T-Rex, how dare they kill off the T-Rex? I'm like, look, the T-Rex is a cool character, do not get me wrong. But I'm okay with the fact that they killed it off. I thought that was a ballsy move. It was something different. And besides, did you really just want to see the same old crap where, the T-Rex wins against another dinosaur? No. I'm sorry, look, don't get me wrong, it was great in the first two movies, but I don't need to see a repeat of it again. So, I'm glad that they tried to do something different here. And then, throughout the course of the movie, our characters, not only are they being chased by the Spinosaurus, but, our main characters, Dr. Alan Grant, Bill, and Paul Kirby and Amanda Kirby, are being chased by velociraptors because Amanda, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to steal one of their eggs. Now, like I said, this movie's not perfect. It does have its problems, but I'll state more of my problems at the end of the review, and then my overall score on a scale of 1 to 10 for this movie. But so she steals the eggs, and basically the Spinosaurus is after them, and so are the velociraptors, mainly the velociraptors, just because the eggs were stolen. And one thing I really like about this movie, yes, the CGI does not hold up well, but there is a lot of practical effects still used in this movie, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that they built actual animatronics for the dinosaurs, because you don't really see that a whole lot in movies anymore. And the fact that they did it for this movie, I thought was rather nice. And I like the part where we're at the 45-minute mark of the movie, so about halfway through the movie, but basically, Eric Kirby, the son of the Kirby family, basically comes across Dr. Alan Grant. He uses smoke bombs to basically help Dr. Alan Grant get away from the Velociraptors and stuff like that. And he talks to him, and, you know, him and Dr. Alan Grant start to have a bond with each other. And we're near the finale of the movie where basically, well, not the finale yet, but now, granted, this is not my favorite Jurassic Park movie because, like I said, I do think the first two movies are better. But I will say that this movie, it does arguably have the best scene in the Jurassic Park franchise. And what I mean by that is the part where Dr. Alan Grant and these characters are basically on a boat on the water where it's wet and it's pouring and it's raining outside, and the Spinosaurus knocks the boat in the water, and Dr. Alan Grant is using his cell phone to try to call his son to basically get his mother, well, to basically get Ellie Sattler, which is his wife, to basically help out and stuff like that. And she's like, "What's all that noise? I can't hear you." And then Dr. Alan Grant says, "Drowning river," and then the phone goes underwater, and so Ellie Sattler, of course, freaks out, and she calls the military to come up there and stuff like that. But then, you know, near the end of the movie, the Velociraptors come towards our main characters, and they're basically sniffing Amanda Kirby, thinking that she stole the Velociraptor eggs, and then the characters do the right thing. They give the eggs back to the Velociraptors, and then the Velociraptors leave, and then our main characters survive. You know, they go on a helicopter ride home, and the movie ends. So, yeah. Now, alright, before I give my score to this movie, do I have any negatives? Yeah. The whole scene where Dr. Alan Grant is on the airplane and he's having a dream of a Velociraptor talking, that scene, I can agree with everyone that scene is stupid. It did not need to be in the movie. The CGI is rather dated in the movie. And my final negative is that Amanda Kirby, while I think for the most part she's not an annoying character, but I will say there are a couple of scenes here and there where I think she's a little annoying, but I don't know. Honestly, Paul Kirby didn't really bother me that much as a character. Now, Amanda, I do think she is fine for the most part, but she is a little annoying in some scenes, but yeah. So, while this is a flawed movie and it doesn't come anywhere near the first two movies, I think that this is a good movie for what it was. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Jurassic Park 3 a 7 out of 10. So yeah, that was my review for Jurassic Park 3. And next up, I will be reviewing the fourth movie, Jurassic World. But we'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.